Hello, I'm Mr. Snapper.
And I'm Red Snapper. And this is
Project Nutmeg. Always. Nutmeg on the table. This is just where she lives now.
This is where she loves being on the table.
So apparently we're going to shoot all these videos on the table from now on. That way we can guarantee that we'll have Nutmeg in the shot.
Exactly. She is very happy to be here.
This is just what we're doing now. This is what the channel's become.
Nutmeg on the table.
Nutmeg on the table.
We've talked a lot about Buster's partial mandibulectomy on this channel, and we are sure to talk about it more. Not only did that procedure give us 6 more years of his love and constant whining, but it also helped with today's topic, fundraising for pet needs.
That's right, fundraising for pet needs. Mm-hmm. We'll get back to Buster in a bit, but before Bus, we had the Doodle bug. Doodle was a mixed breed dog with a healthy dose of Staffy. She was a sweetheart. And we were in our starving artist phase when we had Doodle, which meant that she didn't get the same level of care that our dogs do now. The same obsessive level of care that our dogs get now.
Throwing money at everything that we possibly can.
We're very fortunate to be able to do that now.
Yes.
But back then, not so much.
For sure. For sure.
Which was our DIY ethic.
Exactly. And my parents bred German Shepherds. So we knew where to get vaccines and how to administer them to our dogs. I think we first started doing vaccinations for our dogs with the Dalmatians.
Yep.
The current brood is on the Banfield Optimum Wellness Plan. I know, I keep talking about it, but it is fantastic and we spend money for it. And the vet takes care of all of the vaccinations for us.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by Banfield.
Even though it seems like we sponsor Banfield. We sponsor Banfield.
If you know Banfield, send them our channel. Hey Banfield, if you're watching this, when the Doodle bug was 8 years old, we noticed that she had something going on with one of her molars. It was like a heavy tartar buildup, but darker. So it looked like she had a bad tooth.
Looked like she had a bad tooth.
So we took her to VCA Animal Hospital for an office visit and to schedule a dental cleaning, knowing that she probably would have to have that tooth pulled. That was about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And the cost of getting a tooth pulled when you don't have somebody on a regular plan is a bit more than if you have somebody on a regular plan. Yeah. So we needed to financially prepare to get that tooth removed, which is what we expected.
That's all we expected. We thought, oh gosh, this is bad, but we'll get the tooth pulled, everything will be fine. But before they can put a dog under anesthesia, well,
they have to do a blood test.
Right.
And the blood test indicated that she was incredibly anemic, which was surprising. Before they could put her under, we had to work with the vet to figure out what the source of the anemia was and treat that condition. Even though we didn't have the same financial stability then that we do now, we poured all of our resources into getting her well.
Yeah, and there were plenty of tests, lots of steroids and supplements. We put her on some drug that was like $400 a month before she passed. And honestly, I wouldn't shell out $400 a month for work clothes for an office job. There's a lot of things I wouldn't spend $400 a month for, but we cashed in what little we had in 401ks. They're not much, but some retirement savings, just to get the money to help cover those mounting costs.
I had just finished a Craftsy class on creating appliques, and we had this bright idea to make and sell Doodle applique pillows. Now this was the applique in question that I did in my Craftsy class. So, introduction to appliques, you made an owl applique thing, and I thought, this is super cute. Let's do a pillow.
It was a fun project for you. And if they're still doing that, we'll put the link in the description, because it's actually pretty cool.
It's a fun little class, and I learned a lot. The Craftsy class was a lot of fun.
Great, and we'll put a link to that in the description. Again, it's not something that's sponsoring us or anything, but it's...
Not at all, but if the class is still available, this was like 10 years ago.
Gosh, it may not be available. Anyway, Craftsy's pretty awesome anyway. So I designed a felt doodle applique when Red performed with Chocolate Box Burlesque in 2015. Instead of a poodle skirt, she had a doodle skirt.
I can show that.
Because we still have the doodle skirt.
We still have the doodle skirt. And this here, hopefully you can see it. It has bus hair on it, of course. Everything does. This is the doodle skirt with a nice little leash. There we go. We can go upright. And she was very much this color. And she had one brown eye and one blue eye. And the little spots. And a pink leash because, of course, the doodlebug was very pink.
She was a very pink dog. All right. We repurposed that applique design. Red picked the fabric, and our living room became an assembly line where we both took shifts pressing, cutting, embroidering, sewing, and stuffing these doodle pillows. And we have an example of the actual pillow.
Now this is 10 years old, so the stuffing is a little wonky, but this is the doodlebug. And all of this is embroidered. She had kind of a heart-shaped head, and we gave her a heart-shaped nose. And we used different pinks. No two pillows were exactly alike. All of this embroidery we did on the machine. And
Doodle had a blue eye and a brown eye, so we did the blue eye and the brown eye.
and she had a pink collar, so we gave her the pink collar. And we set up a second sewing machine so that we could both work.
Right. We were cranking out doodle pillows.
We were cranking out doodle pillows.
And we even did a Hulk variant when Doodle was put on steroids. So this is Doodle Smash! Doodle on steroids.
For sure. Oh. We sold them at shows, posted about them on Facebook, and even took some on tour with us that we would stuff in the hotel room and sew shut.
That's right. We were constantly putting them together.
We were hustling. Family and friends were happy to buy them for $20 a pillow. I don't recall if we charged $5 for shipping or if we just included it, but we raised $1,340 over a 4-month period.
Ultimately, our best efforts weren't enough, and the Doodlebug crossed the Rainbow Bridge in August of 2014. We still don't know what caused the anemia, and I'm sure that the entire experience contributed to our paranoia as pet parents and why we're so much more involved in our pets' healthcare now.
Totally. The VCA team was wonderful, just very supportive through the entire experience and at the end. I still have Dr. Al's weepy voicemail after Doodle passed. She was heartbroken because we tried to figure it out. And I will say this about VCA. I know we talk about Banfield all the time. We take our dogs to Banfield. We've done Banfield plans for 10 years almost, like 9 years and change. It's not because of the service that we received at VCA. It's because of the emotional impact of losing Doodle and doing everything we could. We couldn't go back to that same place and wait in the waiting room and hope for, relive the trauma of not having answers and not getting results while we were trying to problem solve for our Doodle.
Yeah. The last time I went back, this is something to keep in mind, and I know it's very difficult when you lose a pet to remember things like this and act on them, but oftentimes if you do have something like the $400 medicine that we had for Doodle, oftentimes you can donate that for pet parents who aren't as fortunate to be able to afford the medicine. And I was able to in that case. We had a month's supply.
We got the medication the month that she passed.
Yeah. So we had quite a few pills left. And yeah, I couldn't get the words out. It was just too, I was a mess. So that was the last time I went to the VCA. Yeah, it was tough. So
we went to a different team, a different location in order to start our care for Buster and the dogs that followed.
Yeah, but the VCA team was fantastic.
They really were.
Yeah.
We also really greatly appreciated the support of our family and our friends and total strangers who bought Doodle pillows. It really helped us afford the care that she received and helped her last longer than she may have.
True, true. So fast forward just a few years, we were just beginning to come out of that starving artist phase. We moved to a part of the world that had a little bit more affordable cost of living. We moved to Dallas. I don't really have a full-time job yet. I'm doing a lot of like temp work and trying to find that full-time job. At some point, your pay got furloughed at your job. So we were in a better place as far as cost of living goes. I mean, we weren't spending like $4, $5 a gallon on gas, things like that. But our utility bill was cut in half, things like that. But we were still struggling. We were like trying to catch back up as far as employment.
We hit some tough times because I had the impact on my pay.
Right.
Because of things that were going on with the company where I had my day job. You were temping. You managed to land a permanent position as we started to look into the Buster situation. And there was also the side hustling as a performer, and we were side hustling as writers.
That's true.
Too.
Yeah, that's right. Doing a lot of freelance work. So anyway, whatever. It's just to let you know, this is kind of where we were trying to deal with Buster's growth in his mouth. And we had scheduled surgery to remove it for February of 2018, but we figured we're kind of shaky here. We want to be able to afford it. Let's start raising money right away.
Yes. We expected him to just lose a tooth or two along with the growth. In Los Angeles, we went to a low-cost place to remove the epulus, which is what they called it, which was just, it looked like a skin lump on the gums. And we went to a low-cost place, and they did a fine job with what we asked, but it was a low-cost place, and we were starving artists. We had day jobs, but Los Angeles is expensive, and we didn't go out there with great resources. So we took him where we could. It was very much a bare bones place. It is the place where starving artists should take their pet if they need help. But they basically shaved the lump off, and that was okay for a little while. And then we moved to Dallas, and it was coming back. So yeah. I think we got maybe a year without the lump, and then it was angry.
Back with a vengeance.
For sure. And when we took him to get everything evaluated, it had spread to the bone. It was pushing the tooth up out of the jaw. Then our fundraising had to continue. It went from our first thought we're going to have to get the tooth removed all the way through the visits with the surgeons, a CT scan, a second consultation, and the partial mandibulectomy itself.
Yeah. So I designed a new applique, and we were back to making pillows. Now, I had designed an applique before for Buster that went along with the doodle skirt, and that was this guy here. So this was a great applique for a one-off, but trying to sort of mass produce pillows. There's a lot of complicated features with this, like the toes are individually cut out. I mean, this is like how he would sit, especially when he was a puppy. His legs are just out like that.
Yeah.
The ear is a bit, there's a lot more gap here. The tail is it's way more complicated than we would like. Plus, just his head's kind of small in relation to his body. And the thing about the doodle pillow that we loved was how big her head is compared to the body. I mean, it's a very taking liberties with her because she was a beefy dog.
She was beefy, but she was very cute.
Yes, very cute. So you want to have the big head and the little body. So we wanted to do something similar for Buster. And that's where we came up with this guy, this applique. So we sold these for $25 each. And we also offered stickers with the same design for $5 and autographed photos for $10. Our friends, family, and fans helped us out and spread the word. We actually did, we got a great picture of this, of a setup that we did at a show that you performed at. Setting up a table, we checked ahead of time with the producers, like, are you okay if we put a table out?
Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was at Sue Ellen's. And I don't know that I was performing, but I showed up to vend with my crown.
It was at the Nines.
Oh.
It was a show at the Nines. You were performing because I manned the table.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
I dropped you off early for your call time. I came back, set up the table. It was at the Nines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I remember that.
I know we did this at Sue Ellen's.
Yep, we did that as well.
They were very kind, letting us set up. I came in my crown and my sash, so like, oh, it's a queen selling pillows.
The great thing about this is that the pillows are a tangible thing. And it's something that makes people feel like they're on Team Buster or on Team Doodle. There's a term for that. I think it's social artifact.
I think
that's what it's called.
it.
Yeah, I should know this. But which means it's something that people can hold on to and they feel like they're a part of it, but also they can take a selfie with it and post it on social media and pass the word along.
You want to be part of this movement.
Right. It involves people in a way that sometimes just having a thing to donate to doesn't necessarily. And that's kind of changed a little bit in the past 5 years, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I still think there's something to having a tangible object.
I think so. Well, even after Doodle passed, people were still very kind and wanted to get the Doodle pillows that we had left.
That's right. That's right. So that is the pillow part of it. We still, the whole treatment thing still cost what?
It was over $5,000.
Over $5,000.
I want to say it was $6,000 total because there were so many steps involved and
consultations and this, that, and the other. It was a lot. But in the end, we used care credit to basically fill the gap, I guess. But in the end, we raised $2,710 from this project, from just the Buster pillows.
And the stickers.
And the stickers and the little potograph photos and all of that.
We used the talents we had to try to problem solve the financial part. And, fun fact, we used the appliques on our giant dog quilt that is wider than our bed, but that makes sure that we still have cover in winter with all of the dogs in there. We came up with something appealing as a perk for donations or for purchase, whatever you want to call it. And we also applied for care credit specifically to pay for bus.
I'm a big fan of care credit. The story behind the company is really kind of moving, really, trying to help people afford originally dental care, I think is where it started. And they really are dedicated to helping you pay for these unexpected medical expenses. Care Credit, it just seems like a decent organization to me. Very mission oriented, or what's the word for it when someone's like doing something out of a sense of like duty and whatever. They're a company that seems very much, I can't believe I'm saying this about a credit company, but they seem to care.
That's in the name. Care Credit. When we've been in the emergency room with Nutmeg, they do have Care Credit signs up for you to apply, and that's not just for Care Credit to make money, but you can be approved for Care Credit very quickly.
Yeah.
If you are in the emergency room and you need to sort something out and you don't have the cash or the credit card space, on your phone, apply for Care Credit if you need money to pay for a medical thing, even if it's for your pet.
Yeah, it worked out for us.
It did.
It's almost like an HSA in reverse, in a way. instead of putting the money away
into this health savings account
for the future, it's retroactively or whatever. It's a bad comparison because you don't have an interest rate on. Actually, you do have. I have to rethink this metaphor, but
If you spend so much money, then it's interest-free for a period of time.
That's also great, yeah.
But they have like dollar amounts that you have to hit in order to be, just like with credit card financing, if you want to get the Home Depot whatever or the IKEA whatever, then you've got to spend this much if you want this long to pay it off.
And at the end of the day, it is a credit card. So
Yeah.
still use the same sort of like, I guess, common sense you would use with running other credit cards. Like, make your payments. It's not free money. It's money you have to pay back, but it's a wonderful resource when you need it. And hey, there are other fundraising options out there. We applied for a grant, but we didn't quite qualify for that. There may be some where you do qualify, but you have to look, you have to apply for them. Pay attention to the criteria and the deadlines. And you can also check out Spot Fund, GoFundMe, and Mighty Cause as options for raising money for pet bills. When we were trying to raise money for Doodle, that was at a time when the fees were applied more or less on the fundraiser's side. But now it works out that the people who are donating pay the fees. So
they pay like an extra dollar or whatever,
so it's,
some percentage.
GoFundMe is great, and we wind up donating to GoFundMes all the time for people's pets and other health emergencies. Great services, take advantage of them to get the help you need. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I want to add something about grants. If you have a specific breed or a pet that has part of a specific strain of dog, species of dog, bit of dog, flavor of dog,
Bit
of dog in it, then look for grants related to that. If we needed something for Nutmeg, we could look for Aussie related grants or Poodle related grants or Aussie Doodle related grants. If we needed something for Coca, we could look at stuff for herding dogs or staffies or Boston Terriers or whatever. You can look for things related to your breed. You can look for things in your city, your state. You can look for things based on your income level. Just scour the internet for any resource you can find that will help you take care of your pet's needs. And even if you don't find something, you'll know that you exhausted that particular avenue and you won't have regrets and think, oh, if I had only looked for a grant, then I would have saved Doodle. Yeah. Like, no. Things weren't the same then as they are now. The internet wasn't as robust.
No. And if you don't have the mental space to do it yourself, ask for help. I'm sure there's someone out there, a friend or a family member, who would be more than willing to do a little bit of Googling for you and try to help you find those grants or those opportunities to help pay your pet's medical expenses.
For sure. That's a great way for people to help if they say, I want to help, but I don't have any money.
Absolutely.
Then you can say, could you look on Google for something, a grant? Mm-hmm. And that just costs them a little bit of time. And I'm sure they'd be happy to help. I think the most important thing with any fundraising effort is to tell a compelling story. Share photos and personality tidbits about your pet. Why is this important? What did they mean to you and your family? And what's happening in your life that you can't take care of it on your own? People want to hear that. I really liked to offer perks to people to help bring them in to the story.
Right, yeah. And when she says tell the story, we literally included an insert along with the pillows that explained, who Doodlebug is, what her health challenges are and all of that. So we're very, very much kept that a part of the process. And in this day and age of ChatGPT and AI, if you don't have the mental space for it, or if you just don't, I'm not a writer, you can throw your disorganized thoughts on the page and ask AI to help you craft the story of your specific need for a fundraising site. Although you do have to be careful with some fundraising sites now, they do have very specific rules about using AI. I have to say that. So, I'm not sure if it's necessarily about building out your listing or if it's what you're offering is AI. The fundraising sites are a little bit weird with AI, I think. So look into that. Be Be careful you're not violating terms of use or whatever. But you can use AI to help you tell the story of your pet and the health issue that they're having. Just make sure that you check over the details of whatever AI gives you, because as we all know, sometimes AI gets a little bit inventive. But really, honestly, the story makes a difference. Stories connect us to each other.
We hope that you got something out of our story.
Yeah.
Be sure to like and subscribe. Boop the bell for notifications.
Yes, and do you have any tips to share for raising money for pet issues, for pet health problems? Or do you need some help figuring out how to tell your story? Let us know in the comments below. We'd really like to hear from you.
Absolutely. And we'll help if we can, even if it's in the form of words or pointing you to resources. Because pets make such a huge difference in our lives, and we want to take care of them.
Right, we're what they have.
Yeah.
We are the ones who have to take care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all for today.
Yeah. See us
See
next
us
time.
next time. Bye.
Bye.